Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this snow melt drip with vinyl wrap tumbler. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. For this design, I started with a fully prepped and sanded 10-ounce Shorty from AB Designs Co., spray painted it with Dreamy Lavender, let that fully dry, and then I mixed up about 5 milliliters of epoxy, and I just gently coated the entire surface of the tumbler, making sure to get a nice even coat. And then I came in with Baby Violet from Peachy Olive Glitters and just completely covered the entire surface of the cup. There's no reason to hold back or just lightly sprinkle it. Let her up and just completely coat the entire surface of the tumbler. You can see just how absolutely beautiful this glitter is. I love it. I let that dry and then I wanted to add it just a little bit more dimension. So I spray painted it twice with Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray paint, mixed up about 10 more milliliters of epoxy. You do not need the full 10 milliliters, but I am just doing another coat of epoxy over the Baby Violet, and then I'm going to come in with Blossum over the top. And what I found, like I was testing this out a little bit, but it just adds an added bit of dimension to the sparkle. I really like this technique. I'm gonna try to remember to do it more, but you can see that the two glitters just really play off of each other, and the sparkle on this cup is intense and absolutely beautiful. And again, the Blossum is from Peachy Olive Glitter, and you can just see how beautiful this is. Once it was good and coated, I rolled it on the cardstock just to knock down any pokey bits. Let that dry for a good 2 hours, and then I went in with 2 coats of epoxy, and then it was time for sanding. Anytime we have vinyl work over glitter, especially a clear cast like we're using on this tumbler, I like to take my orbital sander and make sure that I am knocking down any pokey bits and just smoothing out the entire surface of the cup, because that's going to allow your vinyl to lay down as smooth as possible. You're not going to have any lumps or bumps. So I start out with my orbital, and then I grab my sanding block, and I'm just going to hit the bottom rim of my tumbler and also the butt, like you can see here, just to make sure that I'm having as smooth of a surface as possible when I go into my next steps. Once the sanding is complete, I am going to grab my 120 grit flap wheel on my Dremel on full bore, and I am just going to lightly just run that flap wheel around the top surface of my tumbler. What this is going to do is just going to expose the smallest sliver of stainless steel and also give the opportunity for my next coats of epoxy to really have something to adhere to. Once I'm done with the flap wheel, I'm going to grab my sanding block like you see here and knock down that hard ridge so you don't have any pokey bits when you take a drink. And then I am going to wash this tumbler with Dawn dish soap and water, let that fully dry, go into another coat of epoxy. I just did about 10 milliliters to completely coat the entire surface, and then I let that dry before moving into our vinyl like you see here. I cut a 3-inch wide strip of that beautiful clear cast vinyl from Peachy Olive Glitter, set it to the side, grabbed my ultimate decal guide, made a straight line on the tumbler, put it in the Cradle, also from CamiPaige Boutique. And what this is going to allow me to do is line up my vinyl with that line and get it as straight as possible on the tumbler, so you're set up for success and you don't have to worry about the vinyl walking on you. So we're just gonna make that line right there, get it all set up. I'm also going to take just a little bit of alcohol and clean off that permanent marker that we used on the cup. You can see it comes right off. And then I'm just going to fold up that paper backing and then use my squeegee to go around the tumbler and just gently push down that vinyl around the center of this cup. I think this vinyl is so beautiful. I know this really isn't the traditional winter colors, but I absolutely love it. So at the end, I'm gonna push down that seam, use my knife, and just cut off the excess. Now it's time to pinstripe the tumbler. And I have to say, when I started adding the pinstriping, I really loved the way this cup was coming together. So I cut the platinum crooked texture vinyl at 1/8 of an inch wide by 11 inches long. And I am just going to follow the outline of the vinyl that we have on this cup. It serves as an amazing guide and it allows me to really get that pinstriping straight. So I got that on, cut off the excess, and then I decided to cover the seam with the same pinstriping. I think it was a really nice added detail. And then it was time to seal the pinstriping so that the vinyl wouldn't lift under epoxy. To seal my vinyl, I am using Quick Seal from Artistry Epoxy. I love this stuff and it really prevents my vinyl from lifting or coming off when I do my coats of epoxy. So I just applied it with my finger, let it dry for about an hour, and then I went in with probably about 15 milliliters of epoxy on this tumbler. I used Artistry's 1-in-1 fast set, let that cure, and then I did a light sanding on the edges before we moving into this next step. Now, for this drip, I really wanted to make it look like snow melting versus a traditional drip. So I am just using fabric paint. I think this is Slick from Tulip. This is just like the bright white. And I am going around the tumbler and I'm making it pretty thick. I want to say that it's probably got a good 1/4 inch bead around the top of the cup, and I'm adding some like dimension to it. I'm not just making a perfectly straight line around the cup. You can see I'm kind of going back and forth almost to make it look like snow drips. You can see I'm coming in just behind it. I'm also trying to make sure that I'm getting that top rim covered just so you're not having any of the glitter behind it poking through. So I'm coming in, adding that dimension, and then once you're happy with the fabric paint that you see here, you're just going to gently, and I mean gently, tap the cup on your table just like that, and you're going to see that you're going to get the ridges that I was really going for with the snow melt. Then to really set everything into place, I grabbed Basic White Girl from Peachy Olive Glitter, and I just came through and covered all of the white drippy paint. You can see just how much dimension this opal has in it, and I really liked the way it just kind of reminded me of the snow. It has so many different cuts to it. It's just super beautiful. One thing I will highly recommend is that you hold the cup upside down and also sprinkle glitter up there, because otherwise you'll just have the raw slick fabric paint and nobody wants that. I let the fabric paint dry for about 3 hours and came in with a chip brush and removed any of the excess glitter, spray sealed it twice with Rust-Oleum 2X gloss spray paint, let that dry, and then I went in with 15 milliliters of Artistry's 1-in-1 fast set. I let that dry for about 4 hours, and then I thought the top was a little bit bulky with the drip, so I just grabbed my flap wheel and exposed that top layer of stainless steel again. So I just do one quick trip around the sun, then I come back in with my sanding block and smooth out any rough edges. Then I washed the cup again and then let it dry and finished it off with Artistry's 1-to-1 regular epoxy, and this baby was done. I feel like this cup is the perfect size for sipping coffee or hot chocolate during the remaining winter months. I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you liked the tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you're notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.